folks, welcome back to the second half of tonight's Rwl Sn Rl in Pittsburgh. I am the very tired, very jet-lagged Hangman Takes Lynch, and I am joined by my compadres Wally Cardell and Johnny Bianco. And I say this with absolutely no hype whatsoever. The second half is going to blow the first half out of the water tonight, so stick around, because we have got a bunch of great stuff on tap.
You better get you some real sleep as soon as possible. You sound wiped out, boss.
I promise I'm going to do that as soon as I can. What do you say we get this party started right away without delay? Up next, a couple of cruiserweights in action. Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero set to go one-on-one against the prototype Gary Galaxy, the current cruiserweight champion.
Welcome back, everyone. Our second half opening contest is set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing first, accompanied by the ninth wonder of the world, China, from El Paso, Texas, weighing 228 pounds, Eddie Guerrero.
Well, I had heard talk and scuttlebutt that this happened, but it is true. Mr. Latino, he got his mamacita back. How about that?
Not since Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth has there been a wrestler, ballet, relationship as impactful as that of Eddie Guerrero and China. It's a blast seeing them back together, but don't worry, says China, as she is going to continue to actively compete in the Ladies Legends division. So, if some of you ladies were about to breathe a sigh of relief backstage, you can forget it, since China will still be doing business.
Well, that is good news. The ninth wonder of the world deserves to be in the Ladies Legends division.
His opponent, accompanied by Sylvia Strong, from Chesapeake, Virginia, weighing 196 pounds, the RWO Cruiserweight Champion, the prototype, Gary Galaxy.
Well, the prototype must be in a good mood tonight. Didn't come down the ramp with a microphone yelling at people. Hey, GB, you're the man with all the inside dope. What's the story on this one?
This came straight from Sylvie, that Gary is actually amped to be competing against an all-time great in Eddie Guerrero. And Gary's gonna be in there doing his usual high flying. Also, Sylvie is very proud of all the men and women of the Stronghold for performing far beyond expectations and hanging on firm to the championship gold they've amassed. I guess that's how you get voted Manager of the Year by the front office 2 years running. I'm so proud of Sylvia's accomplishments. It's what drew me to her in the first place.
Well, there's a switch. For once tonight, the whole house is not in Gary's favor. Referee Tom Canamora rings the bell. Gary charges right into the waiting arms of Eddie Guerrero and into a suplex. And China cheering on Eddie Guerrero. It's nice to see them back together again, man. Look at this inverted suplex from Latino Heat on Gary Galaxy. Gary brought back up to his feet. A hard right spins him around. Rear waist lock up in the electric chair position and a beautiful Hurricane Rana from Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero follows it up with a neck breaker drop. Gary Galaxy not mounting a whole lot of offense here, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Here we go, frog splash right out of the gate from Eddie Guerrero. How about this right here? Latino Heat in control of the prototype and has been from the word go. So far, Gary Galaxy hasn't done much. Eddie Guerrero, look at this, quick counter, and another counter from Eddie Guerrero into a, whoa, Gary Galaxy, quick on his feet like a cat. Rebounds off the ropes, fails to connect with the kick. Eddie nails him with a basement drop kick. Gary takes a moment outside, but no good. Whoa, Eddie Guerrero crashes and burns. Tried to jump through the middle ropes, but Gary just gracefully stepped out of the way. Everybody's back in the ring now. Off the top rope drop kick from Gary Galaxy. Wow. Cruiserweight champion starting to come alive here. Eddie Guerrero leapfrogs, ducks under, and a missile elbow takes him down. Followed up with a double boot stomp. Gary Galaxy puts on the brakes, counters it into a dragon screw. Guerrero steps outside. Sylvia Strong steps out of the way. They lock it up. Latino Heat with another suplex. to Eddie Guerrero on the outside as referee Tom Canamora initiates the count. Sylvia Strong giving the boys a wide berth here. Gary locks it up with Eddie Guerrero. Snap suplex to Latino Heat. Gary opens up with a series of shots, an elbow to the face. And Gary takes himself back inside the ring. The ref still... Hey, look at this. Gary Galaxy mocking Latino Heat over here as the referee continues to count Eddie Guerrero. I wonder if he's going to take himself back outside again. Oh, there it goes. He sure did. Gary Galaxy charges Eddie Guerrero, has him up over the shoulders, takes a little walk with him. Head first into the apron went Latino Heat. Gary Galaxy delivers a kick to the back. As the referee starts the 20 count again, Gary Galaxy catches a kick to the midsection from Eddie Guerrero. Guerrero has him up. Oh, this ain't gonna be good. Boom! Oh, right into the barricade. Savage from Eddie Guerrero. Gary counters with an enziguri. Gary's enziguri. Oh, that was pretty cool. They lock up again. Latino Heat rolled back inside the ring. Gary Galaxy showboating on the apron, and he just learned why I say never ever do that. Through the middle rope, oh man, Eddie Guerrero with a crossbody on Gary Galaxy. A neck breaker from Eddie Guerrero. And again, oh man, just grinded the boot into the face of Gary Galaxy. Now Gary finding himself on the receiving end again. Eddie Guerrero's had a lot of the advantage in this matchup. Guerrero rounds him up, pitches him towards the barricade, nails him with a right. Gary ducks out of the way, nails him with a Hurricane Rana of his own. About time he got a little payback. A couple of shots, but Eddie Guerrero quick with the counter. Both men making their way back towards the ring, make it back inside. They lock up. Gary Galaxy from behind whips Eddie Guerrero towards the corner, charges. Guerrero counters. Gary Galaxy with a little quick do-the-hustle counter right there. Eddie Guerrero with a series of shots to the midsection. Tags him with the right. Whips Gary Galaxy to the ropes. And a power slam center ring beautifully executed by Eddie Guerrero. Quickly going for a cover. One. But just a one. Well, now, Gary Galaxy refusing to give up here. But Gary's motionless center ring. Eddie Guerrero nails him with the crossbody splash. Here's a cover. 1, 2, 3. Wrap this one up. Eddie Guerrero wins by pinfall. How about that?
The time, 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Your winner by pinfall, Eddie Guerrero.
Well, it ain't like Gary didn't try, but it's like I said at the start. Eddie Guerrero got his groove back when he got his mamacita back. Wow, what an amazing matchup with an upset win for Latino Heat over the Cruiserweight champion, Gary Galaxy.
As far as Gary goes, it was a non-title loss after a series of solid wins, and there's far more embarrassing people you could lose to besides Latino Heat. But enough about Boston Connor and the Big. Boss Man, more Snarl on the other side of the break.
All right, one of these four ladies is going to be the next woman to face Dynamite Jeannie Parker for the Women's World Championship. Will it be Faye Crawford, Dione the Titaness, Brandy Knox, or Cherie Roy? That's what this next match is going to find out.
And our very special guest in the booth for this match, Dynamite Jeannie Parker herself.
We're thrilled to have you here, Dynamite. We never get to spend time like this.
Thanks, you guys. I'll try to be entertaining.
The following fatal four-way match, set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit, will determine the #1 contender for the RWL Women's World Championship. Introducing first, from Milan, Italy, Dione the Titaness.
So I'm guessing, gentlemen, you like my insights.
If you would please, it's so rare to even talk to you outside of interviews.
All right. Big Dione here is one of my best friends in our WL, which is ironic, since she's the biggest threat to my run as champion. We respect each other, and she jokes around about someday she's gonna beat me for the title. We laugh and all, but I know I can't be champion forever. And even though I've beaten Dione in about 3 title matches already, doesn't mean she might not get lucky some night.
Also, from Pawtucket, Rhode Island, here is obnoxious Brandy Knox.
Here's one, Miss Jeannie. I know you and her never gonna get along.
Tex, honey, this one gets under my skin. All those Bell Council girls. They know they got bad history with me and Latham's. Her, especially Virginia Austin and Jody Dvorak. They're all in the same category for me. I wouldn't relieve myself on any of them if they were on fire.
Ouch.
Brandy here, she's trying to reinvent herself. And good luck to her, but I hope she doesn't win, because I'm just tired of kicking her narrow ass around, and that's from the heart.
Well, thank you very much, Dynamite Jeannie Parker. Wow.
Now, knowing you already faced 3 out of these 4 ladies in the past, who do you see coming up the winner? And your next opponent for the belt?
GB baby, it'll be a miracle if anyone but Dion gets the W in this one. Big Di wrestles handicap matches for practice, and none of the other 3 really seem like they've even got an avenue towards a win with Dion in there.
Also, from Fairfield, Connecticut, the Fairfield Fox, Faye Crawford.
You and Faye Crawford have gone at it a number of times, with and without the women's world belt at stake. So how do you rate the Fairfield Fox?
Dion is still my top pick, but Faye is a tough little thing. She's definitely runner-up to win this, because she can just take all kinds of abuse and keep coming at you, like, relentless, you know. I don't feel any kind of way about Faye though. She's just out here trying to do business same as the rest of us.
You know, it's kind of wild, Jeannie. Faye Crawford was my pick to win this match and figured she'd be the next one to face you.
If she is, and that's entirely possible, I can promise you, she's not taking this belt from me. And you can bet the house, the car, and the kids on that one.
Oh, I'll take it as gospel then. All right, well, we've got 3 of our 4 contestants, 3 out of the 4 that you've already faced, and here's the one you haven't, the dark horse, Cherie Roy.
And from the Twin Cities, the Queen of the Black Garden, Sherry Roy.
All right, Sherry Roy won half of the tag team Vicious and Delicious with Autumn Breeze out here on her own tonight in this number 1 contenders match. So, Jeannie Parker, what do you say?
I don't really know Sherry that well, but I did wrestle Autumn Breeze for the title, and I know they got it going on as a tag team. She could pull off a win, but it would be a big upset with these other 3 gals in the mix, especially with Dion.
Yeah, that's a thing with the Italian Testarossa in there. It could be Death Boss Snoo for everybody.
Plus, Sherry Roy is the only one I haven't competed against before, and that means Mama's gonna have to change up her game for an untried opponent.
Whole different strategy then, huh?
The others I can feel out, since we've tussled before, so yeah, I need to think about a whole different game plan.
Okay, so are you ready for this next title defense? And when is it scheduled to happen?
It's next week, April 12th, right here on Snarl. And gents, the sexy solstice of the squared circle, Jeannie Dynamite. I was born ready, and it's gonna be on that night, in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Bring it on, whoever she is.
I guess that positive attitude is why you've been women's world champion going on 7 years. Oh, kudos to you, Miss Parker. All right, well, our participants are all lined up. This is gonna be a good one. The referee sounds the bell. Here we go. Faye Crawford pairs up with Dion, DDT. Cherie Roy with elbows to the midsection of Brandy Knox. Locks up with Brandy, goes behind, German suplex on Brandy Knox. Cherie Roy moves in, misses her move. Dion the Titaness gets a hold of Faye Crawford. The Faye Crawford counters, spins her around with a hard right. Dion counters with a butt bump. Off the ropes comes Brandy Knox, takes down Cherie Roy. A Hurricane Rana from Faye Crawford. A spear from Faye Crawford on Cherie Roy. Taken down 2 at once. Wow. All right. Oh, running kick from Dion. Big Dion catches one from Brandy. Dion steps out a minute. Looks like she just need a moment to think things over. Not used to this sort of thing. Getting knocked around. Oh, man. Whip to the ropes. Faye Crawford tilt a whirl slam from Dion the Titaness. Cherie Roy with Brandy Knox down on one knee, and here's a stomp. Here's a spear again from the Fairfield Fox on Cherie Roy. Hey, Crawford just coming out of nowhere. Kendo stick brought into play by obnoxious Brandy Knox. Brandy escorts Cherie Roy to the ropes. Dione catches a crucifix from Faye Crawford. Down the Titaness, who gets a leg scissor stomp from the Fairfield Fox. Cherie Roy narrowly escapes a dropkick from Dione the Titaness. Dione rounds up Cherie Roy. Look at this. A submission possible on Brandy Knox. Brandy struggles her way out. Dione the Titaness takes down Cherie Roy. Goes behind. Cherie Roy counters with an elbow. Faye Crawford power bombs Brandy Knox. Dione leaves behind. Cherie Roy in the corner. Goes after Faye Crawford. Turns her over. Has her up in the electric chair position. Slams her face down into the canvas. Oh, man. Brandy Knox on the outside. Cherie Roy working on the legs of Dione the Titaness. Dione turns it around. Nails her with a couple of shots. Brandy Knox back in play. Rounds up Cherie Roy. Drops a knee into her head. So Fairfield Fox, Faye Crawford, still just laid out. Man. Faye Crawford could be in trouble. Dione the Titaness avoids disaster from the top turnbuckle. Goes behind on Cherie Roy. German suplex. Brandy Knox went after Faye Crawford. Finally back on her feet. Cherie Roy on the outside. Dione the Titaness slams down Brandy Knox. Faye Crawford moves in on Dione. Takes her down. Cherie Roy swinging the kendo stick on Brandy Knox. Catches her in the back. Faye Crawford disarms Cherie Roy. Brandy Knox goes after her. Dione just looking at the riot, admiring it from a distance. Oh man. Dione the Titaness rounds up Brandy Knox. Brandy counters, delivers a series of kicks to the head. Fairfield Fox, Faye Crawford with a steel chair tagging on Cherie Roy. And this one's gotten out of control pretty quick. Wrist clutch, baby step stomps from Dione the Titaness on Brandy Knox. Here's a cover. 1, 2, Faye Crawford breaking up the pin. Goes after Dione, whips her to the ropes. Misses the grapple. Locks up with Cherie Roy. Cherie Roy. Chicken wing suplex. Takes a swing at Brandy Knox. Standing drop kick. Cherie Roy goes after Dione, whips her to the ropes. Dione puts on the brakes. Suplex to the Fairfield Fox from Cherie Roy. Brandy Knox on the outside, just coming to her senses. I'm not sure what Faye Crawford's trying to do here, but Dione's not going to let it happen. Dione the Titaness. Double ear clap, gets herself free. Cherie Roy takes down Brandy Knox. Goes for a cover, hooks the leg. 1, 2, and 3. That is it. Cherie Roy winning this match by pinfall.
The time, 4 minutes and 44 seconds. Your winner by pinfall and #1 contender for the Women's World Championship, Cherie Roy.
All right, well, next week on Snarl going to be the Queen, Dynamite Jeannie Parker, and the Queen of the Black Garden, Cherie Roy, for the Women's World Championship. Well, Miss Parker, what do you say to that?
Remember that new game plan we talked about? Well, now I got exactly 1 week to get it tight, to get it right. But I got this, guys. I have to go, but Tex, you give Danielle my love and hope she comes back soon.
I'll do that, Miss Jeannie, and thank you. More Snarl when we come back.
I would ask you, what do you know firsthand or personally that's worth $1 million and looks like $1 million? What would your first answer be? Because when that smoke clears and they hit that beat to 2001, pal, I'm gonna bust in that ring. Woo! Looking as only I can look. Everybody's got a price for the $1 million man. There's nothing. There's nobody that I can't buy. There's 3 things you never do. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. And you don't write checks. that you can't back up. And when you climb in the ring with the $1 Million Man, I stand real tall when I'm standing on my wallet. And when you climb in the ring with me, you just can't back that up. So remember, you will be bought.
It's wild Tex. You and Ted DiBiase can sometimes be very much alike, but he's in crisis. DiBiase, in the rarest of rare acts, putting the $1 Million Championship on the block against Ric Flair.
And like yourself, Tex, he is looking after Jody after the cell match. He's covering her medical expenses, supervising her recovery and rehabilitation, and has sworn his loyalty to Jody Dvorak, swearing she'll be back better than ever. Whatever you may think of Ted DiBiase, he's standing up when it counts.
Yeah, Ted's not a bad sort. We get along okay. But Nature Boy Ric Flair picking this particular time with Ted DiBiase at his lowest ebb with Jody Dvorak injured. And that on his mind, now's the time Ric Flair picks to challenge him for that $1 Million Championship. That's just luck. That's why he's one of the dirtiest players in the game.
Nate is clearly playing mind games with Ted DiBiase. After all, the $1 Million Championship is purely ceremonial. It really has no true meaning beyond the fact that it's the exclusive property of Ted DiBiase, and he's insanely possessive of it. The fact that he's even accepted Flair's challenge is a clear indication that the $1 Million Man ain't thinking straight.
When you see the big picture here, Ric Flair is lower than a snake belly for picking now to mess with DiBiase in his surly state of mind. He's liable to beat the brakes off Flair, like you did to Eason Valek the other night at Southwest.
And it would probably look just as pretty, GB. Well, here he is. Like I said, we get along adequately, he and I, but the $1 Million Man, definitely not in his right state of mind if he's putting the $1 Million Championship at stake here against Ric Flair. He's trying to look tough. He's, that whole bravado trip that he does, but he's got to, if he really cares about Jody Dvorak, it's got to be on his mind that she is laid up and she's going to be gone for at least a month.
Exactly, the bravado thing. His ego won't let him believe he can't be beaten for the $1 Million Championship. Nature Boy knows it, and he's playing DiBiase like a well-tuned Stradivarius.
We've seen how rarely Ted DiBiase puts that title on the line, and we also see how rarely he loses it. I'm thinking the chances are pretty good he's going to retain that belt tonight. Right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what it's all about. Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Championship, gold encrusted in diamonds. It is a beautiful thing, not a bit gaudy.
Introducing first the challenger from Charlotte, North Carolina, weighing 236 pounds, the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
It's such a rare thing for Ted DiBiase to even put the $1 Million belt up for grabs, but I guess that's really where the novelty of the thing comes in.
His opponent from Omaha, Nebraska, weighing 254 pounds, the $1 Million Champion, he is the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. He is gonna fight like a tiger with that belt on the block. No way is he just gonna hand it over to Ric Flair of all people. I'm rooting for Ted. Do it for Jody, brother.
Do it for Jody? You must be out of your mind, GB.
Referee Matty Sierra passing around the $1 Million Championship for hours and Ric Flair's perusal. You're not kidding, Tex. That sucker is gaudy.
He wants to take it to a pawn shop in Las Vegas just so he can hear $100 is the best I can do. All right, two legends with the $1 Million title on the line. Matty Sierra rings the bell. DiBiase catches a knee to the gut from Ric Flair. The Nature Boy. Well, Ted DiBiase puts on the brakes, nails Flair, takes him down to the canvas. And look at this, right away into a figure four, mocking Ric Flair's signature move here. Nature Boy naturally knows the way out, turns it around, and escapes the hold. Ted DiBiase rounded up, Ric Flair has him out on the apron. Misses with the right. DiBiase counters with a right of his own. Comes on back inside the ring. They lock it up. DiBiase whipped to the ropes again. Ric Flair collides with him. Nothing happens. Ted DiBiase. Kick to the midsection and a DDT for Ric Flair. The Nature Boy on the receiving end of the bad business here. DiBiase misses with that driving knee. Puts on the brakes, drives another knee into the midsection of Ric Flair. Here's a snapmare and a driving knee to the head. The Nature Boy takes it outside. So does Ted DiBiase. Rolling out there exactly the same time with him. Rolls him back inside the ring. Not ready to take it to the outside just yet, apparently. The $1 Million Man with that $1 million title hanging in the balance. An elbow across the back of the Nature Boy. Double axe handle finds the mark. So does the kick to the midsection. They lock up. Ric Flair whipped to the ropes this time. DiBiase misses his grapple. Ric Flair nails him with a couple of chops. A slap and a chop block that takes DiBiase down just about center ring. The $1 Million Man shoves him away quickly back on his feet. Nature Boy Ric Flair rounded back up. Ted DiBiase bobbing and weaving nails him with a series of rights and a hard right hand that hurts his knuckles and takes down the Nature Boy. The $1 Million Man with a stomp to the face of Ric Flair. Ric Flair back up on his feet, locks up with Ted DiBiase. The $1 Million Man whipped to the ropes. Ric Flair nails him with the back body drop. Going for the cover here. One, but just one. Ted DiBiase still with far too much fuel in the tank. Ric Flair tags him with a hard right hand. Nature Boy moves right back in. Tags him with another right. Ted DiBiase gonna wear down after a couple of those. Oh man, the $1 Million Man all the way up for the long vertical suplex, and down he comes. Nature Boy regaining control of the matchup. Again, the $1 Million Championship on the line here. And Ted DiBiase, obviously in one of those nasty stages of grief, with Jody Varick injured. A stomp to the face from Ric Flair. And he just busted open the $1 Million Man. Driving knee right to the head of Ted DiBiase. Ric Flair rolls out of the ring for what purpose unknown. Comes back inside. And gouging the face of the $1 Million Man. Ted DiBiase in trouble here. Counters, quickly gets back up on his feet, moves in on the Nature Boy. Tags him with a couple of right hands, and a third one, a big one. A real beauty, took him down. Nature Boy counters with a jawjacker. Nails him with a right. DiBiase counters with a kick. They lock up. Quick takedown from Ted DiBiase. Look at this. Into a cloverleaf. Working the legs of Ric Flair. Possibly going to tag him again with his own move. The figure 4 leg lock. Ted DiBiase not past doing anything when it comes to the $1 Million Championship. There he goes. Like I said, El Predicto strikes again. The figure 4 applied to the Nature Boy. But Nate, working his way around it, finds his way out of the hole. Ted DiBiase back up on his feet first. Nature Boy stopped cold by Ted DiBiase. Whip to the ropes. Up over, back body drop for Nature Boy, right center ring, right in the heart of the logo. Nature Boy counters, takes down Ted DiBiase, and now into a cloverleaf. These guys going at each other move for move here. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and everybody's going to wind up blind and toothless. Oh, man. The $1 Million Man in trouble at the hands of the Nature Boy. Challenging for the $1 Million Championship. Woo! There he goes. Nature Boy styling and profiling. Takes himself all the way up. Top turnbuckle. DiBiase motionless, elbow drop right across the chest. Nature Boy gonna go for the cover right away. One, but only one. Ted DiBiase powering out of that one pretty easy. Everybody winds up outside the ring again, and this time it's probably not going to be pleasant. Nature Boy tags DiBiase with a hard right. These guys ain't playing around. Not a lot of fancy moves. Not a lot of flippy-do here. These guys are playing for real. Nature Boy pitched towards the barricades by the $1 Million Man. DiBiase taking his leisure inside the ring. Nature Boy gonna follow him on inside. Oh, an elbow, excuse me, a shoulder. Takes down Ric Flair again. Oh, man, Nature Boy. No, he took that one pretty hard. Nate rolls the $1 Million Man back inside the ring. They lock it up again. Nate whipped to the far corner. DiBiase charges but catches an elbow from Flair. Flair tags DiBiase with a knee breaker. Ric Flair also working the legs of his opponent, setting up for a figure 4 leg lock. And here we go, an abdominal stretch. Ric Flair applying a rare scientific move. The dirtiest player in the game, catching a hip toss from the $1 Million Man. Ted DiBiase going to take full advantage. Flair back up on his feet. Shoulder tackle takes down the $1 Million Man quickly. Wow. Ric Flair spins him around with a right into a sleeper hold. Well, this could be the end right here. Matty Sierra, the referee, checking the $1 Million Man. Oh, here we go. He counters. Nails Flair with a jawjacker. Back up on his feet. Locks up Ric Flair. Up over the shoulder in the fireman's carry. Hip first into the turnbuckle. Goes Nature Boy. Seated in the corner. Counters with a kick quickly. Back up on his feet. DiBiase putting the brakes on again. Ric Flair unable to mount any real offense. The $1 Million Man drops the fist on the Nature Boy. Every time Nate gets started, he gets shut down cold by the $1 Million Man. Ted DiBiase up on the top turnbuckle. Ric Flair back up on his feet. Here we go. Double axe handle. Finds the mark. Down he goes. Ric Flair gathered back up by the $1 Million Man. Another right that spins him around. In by the $1 Million Dream. Applied by the $1 Million Man. Ric Flair could be in trouble here. The referee keeping an eye on the Nature Boy. He's fading fast. Whoa! Quick counter from Ric Flair. Surprised he made it out of that one. DiBiase whipped to the ropes, catches a knee from Ric Flair. The Nature Boy stalking the $1 Million Man. Takes him down, and here it comes. Ric Flair been waiting for this moment the whole match. Into the figure 4 leg lock. Referee Matty Sierra checking the $1 Million Man, but the $1 Million Man finding his way around the hole, finds his way out, finds his way back to his feet, locks up Ric Flair immediately, whips Flair to the ropes, ducks under, and a clothesline. Takes down the Nature Boy. Flair back up on his feet again, locks up the $1 Million Man, has him up against the ropes. Up and over and out onto the floor goes the Nature Boy, the $1 Million Man in hot pursuit here as the referee begins the count. Ted DiBiase goes to work on Ric Flair on the outside, wearing him down while the referee continues to count. A $1 Million Championship on the line here, and Ted DiBiase knows it. Ric Flair rolls him back inside the ring. And Ric Flair's going to have to do something quick. But this match has been styling and profiling, and not right now is not a good time. Ted DiBiase gives him the bum's rush back inside the ring. The $1 Million Man makes his way back inside. Whoa! A neck breaker out of nowhere from Ric Flair. Followed up with a stomp. The Nature Boy moves in. Nails the abdominal stretch on the $1 Million Man again. But I don't think that's going to get a submission. I really do doubt it. Ted DiBiase is being worn down here a hip toss, and he is out of the abdominal stretch. DiBiase going for a quick cover. 1, 2. But Ric Flair reaching out for the bottom rope. Referee says, nope, we're going to have to start this one all over again. A kick to the back of Ric Flair. A stomp to Ric Flair. The $1 Million Man frustrated here. Figured he might have had it right there, but Ric Flair, whoa, spinning neck breaker. And I mean, he spun him, elbow across the chest of Ric Flair. Ted DiBiase figured he might have had that match won. Hard right. to Ric Flair. A second, and down he goes out onto the floor. Here comes the $1 Million Man right after him. Ric Flair catches a knee to the head. Referee starts the count. Elbow to the midsection of Ric Flair. Flair rounded up again, the $1 Million Man. A series of strikes. And a fist drop right to the face of the Nature Boy, and he is busted open. And lock it up, kick to the mid. What a match we have had so far here between these two legends. Ric Flair sets him up. Whoa! Beautiful counter from Ted DiBiase. The $1 Million Man makes his way back inside the ring. Ric Flair seeing the stars and pretty birds. $1 Million Man begging off here as if Ric Flair was in any condition to do anything. That's just going to make the Nature Boy mad. Well, look at this. The $1 Million Man takes him down into the figure 4 again. The $1 Million Man playing some mind games of his own, but the referee says he's got to break the hold. The $1 Million Man makes his way all the way up to the top rope here. And beautiful crossbody, but Ric Flair steps out of the way and a running kick takes the $1 Million Man down. Ric Flair spins him around with a right, goes behind into the waist lock. Russian leg sweep from the Nature Boy. Now Ric Flair stalking the $1 Million Man here. Takes him down, and here it comes. Woo! All right. The $1 Million Man in trouble here. Ric Flair locks in the figure 4 leg lock. No ropes to get to. And well, the $1 Million Man's in big trouble. He is tapping out. That is it. Ric Flair is the new $1 Million Championship, if you can believe it. Wow. Shut up.
You've got to be kidding. No way.
The time 12 minutes and 15 seconds. Your winner by submission and the new $1 Million champion, Ric Flair.
Well, guys, we have said it before, and I will say it again. The landscape in the Legends division is changing rapidly. Nature Boy Ric Flair pulling off probably one of the best upsets we're going to see all night. He is the new $1 Million champion for whatever that's worth. It belongs to him now, and Ted DiBiase, he's going to be having a pretty rough week.
Don't be surprised to see Ted DiBiase having a $1 million meltdown at some point now between Jody Boric on his mind and now losing the $1 million title to Ric Flair. He's gonna be a hot mess for a while.
And I mean, we all know he's going to get the $1 Million championship back at some point, but it's between now and then that's going to get colorful. All right, American Supreme Matt Clark, the World Heavyweight Champion, in action in our main event when we come back. All right, folks, tonight's main event, big time, so much larger than life. Bret the Hitman Hart set to go one-on-one in a non-title match against the World Heavyweight Champion, American Supreme Matt Clark.
Tonight's Snarl main event is a non-title match set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing first, accompanied by Jim, the Anvil Neidhart from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, weighing 222 pounds, the excellence of execution. Bret, the Hitman Hart. Bret has been up against hard times for a while now. It's like, how can a man's bad luck streak possibly get any worse? He hasn't held any kind of gold for a long time, and his win-loss record hasn't been anything to write home to the family about.
Oh, that's true. Bret's lost more matches than he's won, and that's never good for your record or your dreams of championship gold, neither.
His opponent, accompanied by Rod the Fox Whitley from Smithfield, North Carolina, weighing 265 pounds, one half of the WO Television Tag Team Champions, and the reigning RWO World Heavyweight Champion, American Supreme Matt Clark.
The dual champion cousins Clark and Whitley, the Southern gentlemen, coming in hot. To the delight of the capacity crowd here in Pittsburgh, Matt Clark accepts that Lord Santos is the new face of the company, but that doesn't mean he's lost the right to build a new legacy in this second run with RWL. And hey, he's not doing so badly.
Well, the title isn't on the line, and American Supreme's been winning the lion's share of his matches. I don't imagine he's too concerned. All right, well, Willie Johnson rings the bell. Here's our main event. Bret the Hitman Hart stopped cold. American Supreme with a kick to the midsection, winds up the arm. Bret Hart counters. Bret Hart misses with the crossbody. Supreme nails him with a clothesline. Now American Supreme Matt Clark in control of Bret the Hitman Hart. Non-title matchup in our main event tonight, but oh, what a couple of stars. They lock up. Bret winds up the arm of American Supreme. American Supreme Matt Clark can't seem to find. Well, here we go. He turned it around. They break it up. Hart with a forearm tries to lift American Supreme, and American Supreme wasn't having it. He was just dead weight. Bret the Hitman Hart counters. Inverted DDT to Matt Clark. American Supreme finding himself in trouble here right away. By the ears. Bret the Hitman Hart just picked him up and slammed him. One. No, not even one. American Supreme Matt Clark back on his feet. Bret the Hitman Hart rolls him up. One. No, not even one again. Bret the Hitman Hart trying everything in the book here. Matt Clark nails him with a clothesline. American Supreme countered leg sweep from Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret Hart. Oh, they tussle. Matt Clark shoves him down. Bret Hart counters, gets back up on his feet, charges, misses with the crossbody again. Matt Clark nails him with another clothesline. Stunned him pretty good. Jawjacker, and Bret the Hitman Hart swings and misses with the clothesline. Matt Clark gets caught up. Bret Hart nails him with a backbreaker. And now Bret Hart, the World Heavyweight Champion, right where he wants him. Into a submission hold. Referee Willie Johnson watching American Supreme very closely. Matt Clark counters with some elbows. Gets himself back up on his feet. A hip toss. And Matt Clark is finally free of the hold. Matt Clark rounds up the Hitman. Goes behind on him quickly. Suplex one. Suplex two. He's going for the trifecta. Turns him around and ends it with a vertical suplex for the hat trick. American Supreme Matt Clark really going to work on Bret the Hitman Hart. Here's an arm drag from Supreme. Supreme has him up in the fireman's carry. Samoan drop for Bret Hart. Jim the Anvil Neidhart looking on. And Bret the Hitman Hart starting to take a beating here. American Supreme has him up again. Sit out powerbomb from American Supreme. Drags the Hitman center ring. Covers, hooks the leg. Jim the Anvil Neidhart getting directly involved here. Starts an argument with referee Willie Johnson. Matt Clark countered. Bret the Hitman Hart back up on his feet. Rounds up American Supreme. Matt Clark running bulldog. Down goes Matt Clark. The Hitman rolls him over. Goes for the cover and hooks the leg. One, but just the one. As close to a near fall as we've gotten in this matchup. American Supreme counters with a shot to the ribs. Whoa! Flapjack into the top rope by Bret the Hitman Hart, who tags him with an elbow across the head. Followed up with a stomp to the face. Bret the Hitman Hart covers one. Another near fall as American Supreme finds his way out. Matt Clark rounded back up by Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret Hart sets him up against the ropes, tags him with a right hand. Matt Clark counters with another one. American Supreme whips Hart to the corner. Bret the Hitman Hart ducks out of the way, winds him up. Russian leg sweep from Bret the Hitman Hart. The excellence of execution trying to battle his way back in here. Standing dropkick takes Clark down. Now Bret the Hitman Hart really starting to press the attack. Won't be long before we see a submission move here from the Hitman. An arm breaker on American Supreme. Matt Clark making his way up to his feet on the apron. Bret Hart tags him with a right, and down he goes to the floor. Bret the Hitman Hart gonna follow him on out as the referee starts the count. Kick to the chest for American Supreme. Matt Clark rounded up again. Clark rolls him back inside the ring. American Supreme. Trying to turn it around here. Crossbody finally finds the mark for Bret the Hitman Hart. And he says he's had enough. He's going to wrap this one up and bring it home. Back body drop from American Supreme says, oh, no, you don't. Matt Clark with the Hitman back on the canvas. And going right back to work. His cousin Rod the Bod Whitley standing by ringside watching his cousin work. Bret the Hitman Hart is laid out. Non-compass men is slowly starting to get back to his feet now. Matt Clark just watching him like a hawk. Supreme moves in now. Flips the Hitman to the far corner. The Hitman counters and escapes the corner. Matt Clark counters, puts him right back in the corner. Bret Hart counters and escapes the corner again. Breaks the monotony with a running bulldog on American Supreme. Clark rounded up again. Whipped into the corner. The Hitman with another running bulldog to the other side of the ring. Matt Clark has him up, slams him down. Well, that was close. Matt Clark goes behind, has him up, suplex. And here's another one. Again, Matt Clark going for the trifecta. Gonna nail the hat trick around here. Turns him around, has him up, vertical suplex, and that's a wrap right there. Could be the end for Bret the Hitman Hart. Matt Clark rounds him up one more time. Goes behind. But Bret the Hitman Hart counter. Tags Matt Clark with the right. Has him up over the shoulders. Drops him head first against the turnbuckle. And the Hitman now with an advantage here as Matt Clark is stunned. The Hitman goes behind into the submission on American Supreme. Basically a seated abdominal stretch. Matt Clark in big trouble here. It's another submission. Bret Hart's laid on him. But Matt Clark, again, battling his way back to his feet. Uses the hip toss to get out of the hole. Now Bret the Hitman Hart quickly back on his feet. Tags Matt Clark with the right. Has him up. Oh no, here we go, pile driver. Again, that controversial pile driver. Bret Hart covers. 1, 2. And that's as close to a near fall as we've gotten so far. Bret Hart knew it. He has taken Willie Johnson to task on the count. Rounds up Matt Clark. That pile driver, man. Whip to the corner. Standing drop kick from Matt Clark counters it. Eye gouge from Bret the Hitman Hart. The Hitman rounds up Matt Clark. Has him up, but Matt Clark countering the suplex. Goes behind on Bret Hart. Slams him down. Another triple suplex trifecta for American Supreme Matt Clark. And he has got to have worn out the Hitman by now with 3 of those. Another vertical suplex, and that could be the end if Matt Clark would just pin the man. Drives a knee. An elbow, into the head of Bret the Hitman Hart. Here's a cover. 1, 2. Oh, another really near fall. Another 2.8, 2.9. Matt Clark feeling that he is charged up. The fans really getting behind American Supreme here. He's got Bret Hart up. Here's a sit-out powerbomb. 1, 2. Turns it around into a Boston Crab now into a submission on Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret Hart counters, finds his way out of the hole. Throws his way out onto the floor. And this match has been a ride and a half already so far. Man. Matt Clark follows out the Hitman. The Hitman gets him up, but Matt Clark counters. Bret the Hitman Hart counters. Matt Clark counters, takes him down. Bret the Hitman Hart rounded back up by American Supreme. Misses with the right. Bret the Hitman Hart slams his head into the apron. And down went American Supreme. Bret the Hitman Hart catches a couple of shots from American Supreme. Jim the Anvil Neidhart giving them a wide berth, a lot of space. Both men back inside the ring. Kick to the midsection. Down goes American Supreme. Here we go. Bret the Hitman Hart into the sharpshooter, but too close to the ropes. The Hitman's going to go for the cover and hope for the best. 1, 2. But another near fall. It's Supreme finding his way out. Busted open, bleeding. and wiped out, but still in the game. Supreme catches a couple of shots from the Hitman, ducks the third one. American Supreme countered again. Bret the Hitman Hart. Clothesline takes down Clark. A stomp to the chest. American Supreme in big trouble here. Alley-oop out of the corner from the Hitman. A kick to the chest. Man, Bret the Hitman Hart is wiped out. The Hitman rounds up American Supreme. Has him up for another pile driver and nails it. That pile driver, a controversial move these days, is being debated whether or not they're going to ban it or not. Bret the Hitman Hart covers 1, 2. Another near fall. American Supreme absolutely refusing to give up here. And no quit attitude of American Supreme Matt Clark. Clark counters with a forearm. Whoa. Bret the Hitman Hart tags him with a clothesline out of nowhere. The Hitman stalking American Supreme. Takes him down to the canvas. And here we go into the sharpshooter again. The sharpshooter. But, look at this. American Supreme says, oh, no, you don't. Been there, done that. You ain't doing that to me. Elbow to the face. Bret the Hitman Hart whip to the ropes. Collision. Matt Clark rounds up the Hitman. He's got him locked in. Bret the Hitman Hart tags him with the right. Supreme counter. Winds him up. A clothesline takes down Bret the Hitman Hart. The Hitman rounded up again. A jawjacker from Bret. A bulldog from Bret. Down goes American Supreme Matt Clark. A stomp to the back of the head. And now Bret Hart rounds him up, slams him down. A battle back and forth for control in this matchup. It's been insane. Clark with a shoulder takes him to, my God, he is just bleeding so bad. Whoa! Clark taken down by Bret the Hitman Hart to the outside. The Hitman rounds up American Supreme. Supreme counters. Bret the Hitman Hart nails him with a side suplex on the outside. The referee counting. The Hitman rounds up Clark. Snapmare and an elbow to the head. Matt Clark rounded up again. Counters Bret the Hitman, takes him down with a clothesline. Matt Clark battles his way back in. Bret the Hitman Hart tags him with a series of kicks to the leg. Bret Hart countered by Matt Clark. Clark quickly rushes back inside the ring. Less than 2 minutes to go in this matchup. How about this here? The crossbody from Bret the Hitman Hart. And he is spent. He has used up every last bit of juice he's got. Clark back up on his feet. Another kick to the midsection. Bret the Hitman Hart has him up a third pile driver for American Supreme Matt Clark. And man, the referee might want to think about stopping this one. The cover. 1, 2. Oh, shut up. How? Matt Clark is still going. American Supreme trying to get back to his feet here. Taken down by Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret Hart, with a minute to go, stalking American Supreme. Takes him down. Sets him up for the sharpshooter again. And he's got it. Referee Willie Johnson watching Matt Clark. And he's tapping. That is it. Bret the Hitman Hart with an upset win over American Supreme Matt Clark by submission. Shut up.
The time, 14 minutes and 14 seconds. Your winner by submission, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Well, it is an upset win over American Supreme, but Bret the Hitman Hart needed this win, and well, by goodness, he went ahead and got it, didn't he? With a submission over American Supreme.
It's high time Bret starts making up for lost time, and this win over the World Heavyweight Champion is a good place to start repairing Bret's damaged career. He's dropped matches to Tony Dangerous twice, Gary Galaxy, Joseph Von Schmidt, Neil Mascaras, Tommy Wilcox, Count Victor Mondo, and I could go on a while longer. But the point is, Bret's dropped a lot of his matches, some of them important ones. And being honest, this current run for the Hitman is going to find itself circling the toilet if Bret doesn't start winning more often.
But hey, what a main event it was. Oh, wait a minute. What the hell's going on here? Wait a minute. Look at this. Bret Hart looking like he's seen a ghost. And I don't recognize... Whoa! Holy old hell, it's Rob Torres, the Sultan of Sexy. He's been gone for more than a year. He wasn't scheduled to come back for a couple of weeks. What the hell goes on here?
Wow, Brett's bad luck streak just never seems to end. Now, just as he picks up a win, Rob Torres crashed the party. For those who don't know, Rob Torres had his very first match in our WL over 15 years ago. It was against Bret Hart, and the Sultan of Sexy Rob Torres handed out one of the most brutal beatings I've ever seen the Hitman take. His pink singlet stained red with blood, his face barely recognizable. Rob Torres put Bret on the shelf for months, and now, over 15 years later, the Sultan of Sexy has come back after a year away and is attacking Bret Hart again, like an unattended starving Doberman in a daycare center.
Geez, poor Bret must think he's having some kind of flashback. And just where the hell has Rob Torres been for a whole year? Last time we even saw anything major from Torres was when he and Dr. D. David Schultz split up as the Tennessee Studs, with the former tag team champions leaving Freddie Blassie high and dry.
That was a damn shame, too. The Tennessee Studs was a solid team. Him and Dr. D. David Schultz clicked like a 21-jewel watch.
Not a peep since then, and now Rob Torres just pops in seemingly out of the Twilight Zone as far as Bret Hart's concerned.
You saw the look on his face when Rob Torres showed up on the ramp. He froze like a deer in the damn headlights.
Bret's fighting back, but he's already wiped out from his match with Matt Clark. Rob Torres chose the perfect time to strike, like he's always done.
The Hitman going under the ring for an equalizer here.
The Hitman introducing a table into the mix here. But Rob Torres, he's... Oh man, slammed him right on the table. Kick to the... and DDT'd him right on the table. Head first just busted him open, split his forehead open. Oh man, Rob Torres doing it to Bret Hart all over again. The Hitman trying to sell the fans that he's okay, but his face is already pouring blood, and I think Rob Torres has already done the desired amount of damage.
Yikes on trikes. The Hitman is a flowing fountain of blood. Like something out of Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Yeah, something like Blood Feast or 2000 Maniacs. I love that guy's movies. The Hitman trying to battle his way back against this Pearl Harbor style attack from Rob Torres, but so far it's been all about the Sultan of Sexy just beating the crap out of the Hitman. Despite his best effort, you can see for yourself, he is just pouring blood all over the place. Rob Torres coming back after 15 years to do the same thing he did the first time around when they met. Torres got him all the way up, slams him all the way down. And oh man, Bret the Hitman Hart is a wreck. Elbow to the face. Rob Torres countered by the Hitman. Torres counters the Hitman. Another elbow to the face. Torres quickly goes behind. Here we go. Triple suplex. For Bret the Hitman Hart, this is probably going to be the end of it. He's taken 4 of those already. Oh, man. Rob Torres absolutely destroying Bret the Hitman Hart here tonight. Unbelievable.
At some point, Bret Hart has to be wondering why me. The Sultan of Sexy popping up like Godzilla out of Tokyo Bay, and once again, Bret Hart played the role of Tokyo. Rob Torres saying loud and clear that he is back, and then, what's that gonna mean for the rest of the locker room? I'm stunned senseless. Rob Torres has returned.
A little older, a nice improvement on the mullet, and still mean as a snake. I see very little has changed for the Sultan of Sexy, and he showed up during Bret's match with Matt Clark. Clark and Torres have bad blood as well, with American Supreme putting Torres on the shelf for months for striking Crystal DeVore. I'm sure Matt Clark must also be shocked by the return of Rob Torres.
He wasn't supposed to come back till the end of April.
Alrighty, that's gonna do it for this week's Rwl Sn Rl. As always, we thank you for sharing some of your time with us, hopefully being entertained. Okay, we'll all be back Saturday, April the 12th, with another edition of Snarl. But up next, stay tuned for our WL Rage. For all of us here, Wally Cardinal saying thanks, good night, and be safe.